everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope that you are all good. So in today's video I'm showing you guys this bright yellow acrylic design set. I really wanted to do something just fun and summery, and this is what I come up with. So I'm working on my Glamerliz practice hand. I do have a discount code for Glamerliz, which is always in the description box below, along with the link to her website. So if you are looking for a practice hand, I really recommend checking out the Glamerliz ones. I have already applied my tips and a thin clear acrylic base, so we're coming straight in with the design. Now I'm just putting down a thin layer of CJP Snow White at the tip of this now and blending out the back of the bead. I'm going to be coming over the top of this white with some glitter, so I just wanted a really thin layer just so there was a little bit of colour for the background of that glitter. But I'm applying it the same way I would any ombre, and then I will allow it to set before coming in with my next colour. And then on to the middle finger, we're doing a full nail of that gorgeous bright yellow. And this yellow is CJP Parrot Feathers, and it is just stunning. It's not your classic yellow, it's got a bit of an orange sort of tone to it, but it is absolutely beautiful. I definitely think it'll be great for summer. So I'm basically doing a thin layer of the colour and just building up the coverage with that colour. I'm not worried about building up my strength or structure, as I've said in previous videos. Usually when I'm doing a full colour nail, I would just do a thin layer of colour and then encapsulate in clear acrylic. However, the CJP colours are strength powders, well, most of them anyway, so you are able to build up your strength and structure with these if you wanted to, but it is just down to personal preference that I prefer capping them. Here I'm just building up the coverage of that colour slightly, so I'm just making sure it's fully opaque. And these colours are so highly pigmented that you do need to be really careful that you don't touch the skin with them, because they do tend to stain. Obviously we're avoiding touching the skin anyway, but it does sometimes happen accidentally. So just be really careful when using these highly pigmented ones, because they stain. So even when you sort of remove the acrylic product, you're left with that colour there anyway. Onto the ring finger, and we're doing a simple colour block design. So I'm coming in again with that parrot feathers at the cuticle, tapping it up into place at that cuticle area, and then just walking the bead down into the shape that I want it to go into. This section is just sort of sloping off slantly, nothing too fancy, just like I said, a simple colour block. I do really want to push myself out of my comfort zone with colour blocking and do a little bit more. So I think that's coming up in one of my sets I'm going to do for YouTube, just a little bit more of a challenging colour block design. And as you can see here, I'm just using my brush to neaten up that line as best as I can. However, I do always come in and file each section of my colour blocking with my file. I'm just coming in here with another bead to build up the apex area. Like I said, the CJP colours are strength powders, so you can build them up, and this is what I prefer to do when I'm doing colour blocking. So I'm just making sure my apex is built up in that section. And then I will leave this section to set, because like I said, I want to file it. So I'm going to leave that to set and move on to the little finger. And I wanted the little finger to be full on sparkly. So I have got my clear acrylic base down already. So I'm coming straight in with my glitter. Ideally, it's always best to have something down on the natural nail plate rather than coming in on top of the natural nail with your glitter mix. I just find that glitter doesn't adhere as well to the natural nail, so I always like to have a clear base or a colour down first and then come in with my glitters. And the glitter I'm using today is White Diamonds from the Glitter Nail Angel. I do have a discount code for those guys, which is always in the description box below, again with their website, so do check them out. They have some absolutely stunning glitter mixes. So I'm picking this up with my CJP crystal glass and just covering the entire nail. Now I'm keeping my brush nice and wet so I can tap and nudge all those pieces of glitter around. This isn't a chunky mix, however there's no super fine or fine glitter pieces in there, and because I want full coverage, that's why I'm just keeping my brush nice and wet so I can just spread out that glitter evenly and make sure it covers the entire nail. And then on the top of that, I'm coming in with some of these mermaid flakes. I'm not 100% sure where these ones are from, but they're just your regular sort of mylar mermaid flakes, whatever you want to call them. And I'm just tapping them on top of that wet glitter mix. Now, I always find this looks a little bit random before you cap it and top coat, but it's one of those designs that once it is capped and top coated, it looks absolutely amazing because the iridescent glitters and the mermaid flakes really catch the light beautifully. And I will just leave the glitter and mylar to set in place before encapsulating. However, I did all the encapsulating off camera today as I did leave some in my previous video, so I like to mix it up a little bit. Then we're moving back to that pointer finger, and I've placed down a wet bead of parrot feathers. I placed it down at that blend area and I'm just pulling it down to create a fade. Like I said, this colour is so highly pigmented, so it did take over my white a little bit, but I was able to clean that up. And because I'm coming in with the glitter, I didn't need to worry too much about creating a perfect ombre anyway. Then I've come in with my cuticle bead, tapped it into place at the cuticle and dragged it down over that previous bead of yellow. Just trying to keep everything as smooth and as even as possible, and I'm just building up the colour with the yellow where it's needed. So I felt it looked a little bit transparent down at that cuticle area. So I just come in with another bead, blended it in at the cuticle area and then pulled it down. Now this is where you can kind of see the yellow has completely overtaken the white. So I'm just using my wet brush to clean that up a little bit. If I was keeping this as an ombre, I would have probably come in with a little bit more white acrylic. But because I knew I was applying the glitter over the top, I didn't really need to. So then I'm coming in again with that white diamonds. Again, I've picked it up with a really teeny tiny small bead of crystal glass, dipped into the raw glitter, and then I'm just tapping it into place over that white acrylic and fading it down over the yellow. And this is what I love about these iridescent mixes. They look slightly different over different colours. So you can really see here, it looks more pinky over the white, and then it goes that yellowy orange colour over the yellow. I do love an iridescent mix, to be honest. So then again, over the top of the white diamonds, I'm tapping on some of those mermaid flakes. Just nudging them around with my wet brush. These were a little bit thicker than the ones I usually use. So they were a little bit more tricky to get into place and to make sure they was all lying nice and flat. And then once I was happy with how they're placed, I just put a small wash of clear acrylic over the top of them just because I felt like they wasn't sticking down very well. So I didn't want them to move around, but I didn't want to fully encapsulate the nail yet because I felt like if I did fully encapsulate, it would pull a lot of them off. So I just tapped on some clear acrylic just to hold them in place until I'm ready to encapsulate. Then we've moved back to that colour block nail. I've already filed it crisp off camera, so I'm now ready to come in with the next section. So again, using CJP Snow White, I placed my bead down slightly too wet, so I was just tapping and playing around with it whilst I was waiting for it to polymerize a little bit more, just because once it has polymerized a little bit, it's a little bit easier to mold into the shape that you want it to be in. And then I'm just using my brush to neaten up the section and get the line as crisp as I can, just because then there's less filing to do. Again, making sure that the section is the same height all the way along so that your wall is the same height. This just makes it a whole lot easier when it comes to doing the next section. I felt as though my wall wasn't high enough, therefore the nail wouldn't be the correct thickness for the structure. So I did just come in with another small bead just to apply a little bit more product, faded that back just so that I made sure it fully covered and there wasn't any gap between the yellow and the white. And then again, once that section had fully set, I off camera filed it crisp and we're ready to come in and do the final section. So I decided I was going to do the glitter, but I wanted it to have that white background. So I'm just applying a thin layer of the Snow White down first of all, just so that there's that little bit of background colour. I preferred how the glitter looked over the white. And then I did leave that to set for a minute or two because I didn't want the wet acrylic to turn my glitter murky. It doesn't look like I waited here because obviously I paused filming, sorry, but I had allowed the white to set, and then I'm coming in and applying the white diamonds. And then again, I will tap the mermaid flakes over the top. And then I did obviously have to encapsulate this section because of the glitter. So again, like I said, I did all my encapsulating off camera. I have already capped the other 3 nails. I did that whilst I was waiting for the white to set. And this is what the nails all looked like when I had fully encapsulated them in clear acrylic. I wasn't 100% happy with my encapsulation application for this set, but luckily off camera my file saved the day. So I'd filed them all into shape, buffed over the surface with my white buffing block, removed all the dust and all of that jazz, and I'm then going to come in with some of this pliable striping tape. So this is the silver tape from the Crystal Studio. They do have it in a couple of different colours, but here I'm using the silver. So I always find it easiest to apply this by cutting off a little bit more than you need so that you've got some to hold on to, and then just applying it directly onto the nail. And then I'm just making sure to really press it down, especially at those sides, and then I just trim off any excess. I then also like to run my file along the sides just to make sure that there's a slight gap so that the top coat sort of fully seals it in, if that makes sense, but I do that in a moment. So I'm just going to apply the striping tape to the colour block nail as well. And what I love about these striping tapes, they're so much more easier than the tapes that come on the roll to use. But then also they come in a pack with different sizes. So you've got some thicker lines and some thinner lines. So you can create really cool designs with them. So again, same as before, I'm faffing about just getting it into place. And then once I'm happy with how it's set, I just really rub it down to make sure it has adhered to the nail. Trim off that excess as close to the nail as you can, but like I said, you can also file it so that you know that there isn't any excess overhanging, because if you have got some excess overhanging, it more than likely will peel off. So here you'll see I just run my file along the sides. I only did it on the one nail. It's on my practice hand, so I know it's not going to peel off. But if I was doing it on myself, I'd be a little bit more thorough just to make sure I have completely removed the excess at the sides. So I'm then going to come in and top coat all of the nails with my CJP tack-free top gloss. So I'm applying a nice even layer to all of those nails. Again, if I was doing this set on myself, the 2 nails that have the striping tape, I would double top coat just to make sure that that striping tape lasts the duration of the set. But because it's on my practice hand, there's no need to double top coat. So once I've top coated all of the nails, I will then pop them in my LED lamp to cure for 60 seconds. So guys, that's pretty much at the end of the design. I really hope you enjoyed this one. If you have any sort of designs or requests, then let me know them in the comments below and I will give them a go, because I would love to do some designs that I know you guys want to watch. So yeah, if you have any requests, pop them below. If you did enjoy watching this video, then please like or comment below. And if you're watching and you're not already subscribed to my channel, I would absolutely love it if you hit subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, I have left a clip at the end of what the finished set looks like, as well as a picture for you guys to check out. So once again, thanks for watching, and I shall see you all again in the next video. Lots of love. Bye bye.